Okay, I'm going to cover three things with this. The first thing I'm going to cover is the whole point of the whole tip. I don't know if you've noticed it, but we're going to cover the tip of the brush. The second is the thickness, and the third thing we're going to cover is this whole dab thing. Now, when I paint, if you notice, my brush is not like this. It's never like this. This is what happens. A lot of people are doing this dabbing, like as if you're painting a wall or something. But even when you paint the wall, you go that way. So my brush is almost like that, or a bit like this at all times. So it's just the tip of the brush. It's never this dab, 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 and always moving quickly from left to right. It's always moving from left to right, left to right. And I might go back a bit, but it's still wet. When it's wet, it's fine. So first thing is the tip. If your brush is like this, you've got something wrong. So you're going always, the tip needs to be almost vertical. When you're doing something really fine, see how fine that can be. I'll just draw his mouth and see. Even though that paint is not thick, you can go really fine with, and that's quite a thick brush, by the way. That's not a thin brush, but if I go vertical, I can get a really fine line. So using the brush more like this than like that is going to make a big difference. So that's the first thing. The second is the thickness. Now, if you notice that a lot of you might go once and then go over it when it's dry, and you'll notice here, just by using thicker paint, I can get that bead moving. And notice the difference between that and this. And this is on just ordinary paper. This is not watercolor. So you want to make your paint more soupy rather than watery. Watery is good for your background, and your washes need to be watery. But when you're doing something that's close up, something that needs that intensity, you want it nice and thick. And that's the difference between watery and thick. Now, when you look at it, there's a lot of paint there. There's a lot of that bead there. It's not dry, and a lot of you would probably be doing something like this. I struggle to do it, but it's this dry thing, and so you get all of these marks because there's no paint on it and there's no liquid on it, and so it's not water and it's not color. So that's what watercolor is. You have to have paint, which is color, and water on it. And so that's your water, the bead. And color is what you need. So anyway, first thing was the tip of the brush. So get it up more that way than this way. The second is the thickness of the paint. What was the third thing? We'll find out as we go. I've forgotten what the third thing is. So let's just start to paint this dinosaur. Now, again, what I'm doing is I've decided that this edge is going to be lighter, and so I've got some. See that paint? It's quite thick. It's still runny, but it's still quite thick. And the only reason I can go back here is this is all wet. I would never dare to go back if it weren't wet. So there's light coming from the left, and so I can paint that. And it's all runny and thick. And again, notice the angle of my brush. It's never gone down there like that. Then I go to the dark, and I mix in some dark colors and start off on this side. And I don't mind if it mixes here a bit. But notice there are tones. This is not one flat color. So what we had here was the flat color. That was the third thing I want to talk to you. So if you're going to be painting a face and it's just color, there is only flatness here. And what you really want is something like this. You could call it a gradation, but it's not always a gradation because you could put in different tones. So I just put in some purple there. We could put in some red there. You could do a tree in this color. I'll show you. I'll just go up to the branches and you'll notice that it looks like a pretty decent tree. Okay. So we had yellow, we had green, we had blue, we had brown. We can put red in it. There's no. The thing is, it shouldn't be flat. So getting back to this dinosaur, quickly. Renuka is jumping here because flies are hassling her. So it's just.
No, I'm just restless.
Oh, she's just restless. How sad. So I'll just do the face here, and then we'll quit. But the point is, look how many tones are here in this face itself, and that's the part that some of you are really struggling with. But I've had all my paint ready, I've had all my soupiness ready, and I've got this tip ready, and that's why it's all working. And
because it's thicker, you don't have to go over it 5-6 times.
Yep, that's it. So you don't want to go back too much there. I probably was not paying attention and should have been much thicker to begin with. But it'll still turn out fine. So 3 things. First is the tip, the second is the thickness, and the third is definitely the amount of shades that you put in. And that's it. So go for it and have your tea and have your snacks and paint away. Bye-bye.